Good evening, everyone. My name is Marcus Neo. I am a candidate for the Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC. I'd like to thank everyone. Firstly, give a round of applause for yourselves for braving this chilly weather. Slight drizzle to grant us a presence. Tonight, it is Red Dot United's third rally thus far. It is also the second last day of our campaign. One of that can determine the next 5 years. 3 days ago, our Jurong East Bukit Batok team, all 5 candidates, bumped into Miss Graceful's team at Clementi's Hawker Centre. I don't know if you guys know, but I've been having a bit of fun on my social media, taking jabs at Miss Graceful, talking about taking chicken wings, giving back whole chickens. Well, so I had the good idea to go up to Mr. David Ho, who aspires to be a chicken rice store seller. I said, I hope you can forgive me. It's all good fun and sportsmanship in the light and the heat of general elections. He then replied me almost instantaneously. He said, after all, it's all about the residents. That took me a bit off guard, that can make me look very bad. Assuming if there's cameras around. I can appreciate the gesture. It's almost like they had a scripted, well, it's comms training, right? However, that got me thinking later. Mr. David Ho says it's about the residents. So let me ask you, is Mr. David Ho going to so-called help his residents, hold his boss Graceful accountable, in Parliament, when she made comments about how Singaporeans should afford $5 wonton meals or $18 pastas? Or are they going to be counting their chicken wings together in Parliament? Not a single PAP MP voted against the GST increase. And I want voters to understand or to ask themselves, is Mr. David Ho or Ms. Graceful going to speak up for the 140,000 voters and their families in Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC, or perhaps for the whole Singapore, including Ms. Kala's SMC? Yes, no. Well, some of my colleagues and my friends have graciously said that I deliver good speeches. It is as if they came natural for me. Well, that's not true. That is because I've been speaking up for myself and the people around me my entire life. And if elected to Parliament, I will speak fearlessly for all Singaporeans. Yesterday, my team and I were at Holland Bukit Timah GRC, and I spoke of high-minded ideas like capital, labor, how we should have a balance. Today, I'd like to bring it back to the ground, to a topic that is common to all heartlanders. That is our jobs. You see, I was born to a family that is of an ordinary Singaporean type. My father's highest qualification is Primary 5. He worked hard in blue-collar jobs, starting off as being a cleaner, to a gas tank delivery man, to a chicken rice store seller, the real one, okay? And today he's a fishmonger. My mother tried very hard. She went on to secondary school, but she found English challenging, and hence, that was her highest qualification. She then worked her way up from an entry-level front desk clerk to a manager in a 200-man SME today. That is 30 years of consistent hard work. My father was not the type to have too high or too harsh of an expectations on me. It is his kindness that rubbed off me for most of my life. You can consider him the hardworking, the silent father type. I'm pretty sure that many Singaporeans have similar memories for your own parents. My mother, on the other hand, she saw the limitations of how far you can go with a limited formal education in Singapore. So she slugged her guts out to put food on the table, to push her two young children into university. I still remember the trying years where she had to detail down every single family expense on a paper family notepad. Yes, we had our struggles. I've moved on since. But as a young child, I can assure you, you never want to see your mother having to scrub loan shark paintings off the corridors of our HDB flats. I've been there. Fast forward 20 years later, having somewhat of an inquisitive entrepreneurial disposition, I preferred going out to chiong in the real world. I had somewhat of a back and forth with my formal education, and I finally only graduated from university at the age of 29. Then here comes the kicker. I finally got my shot at so-called a big company, MNC, located at the heart of the CBD, high gleaming office towers, air-conditioned, stable, sound salary. And it's the kind of job that I think most Singaporean mothers would feel proud of their sons for achieving after years of struggle. When I told my mother, I could see that she was very surprised and happy for me. It genuinely felt for the first time that I was doing her proud. However, it was not to be. After 5 months of exceeding my sales and marketing target straight in a row, testimonials from my colleagues emailed to HR, they continued to be vague in their response in my long-term employment prospects. Well, not that I was too concerned being on a probationary contract, but after 10 months, million-dollar high sales targets met month on month, it was taking a toll on my mental health. Not to mention that my bonus would have been compromised. Even my girlfriend said, "Marcus, you are swearing in your sleep. I hope you reconsider." I still remember sitting across me, this HR manager. He was of a foreign land. And he had the cheek to say to me, someone as a matter of fact way, back in our country, we can't do this to our people. But here in Singapore, we can do it to you. Just say that to me, in as a matter of fact way. Can you believe it? The utmost ignorance, arrogance, and contempt, if you will. Us Singaporean men have served 2 years of our lives in national service and continue to service our country for 10 years straight for reservists. If you were in a position seated across like me with an individual who is employed in our country, one of which that you have contributed, continue to contribute to her defense and security, how would you feel? Well, I gave them 3 chances. I'm a reasonable person. While I've done business, people who have known me in business know me to be reasonable. I'm always willing to give more to reach a middle ground, and we all move on. Win-win. You make money, I get my salary, I get my bonus, we make more money together. However, when it comes push to shove, if certain lines are crossed, then I'll assure you that be prepared to meet me in battle. In Chinese, there's a saying that's called 公道自在人心. In English, it means fairness and justice is known to everyone in their hearts. So I took them on. Not in the sense that I went online to TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, screaming and venting my case, so on and so forth. Oh no. That's not the adversarial politics nor activism that myself and RDU believe in. But I took them on in a legal, grounded, sensible, and professional manner. It took them weeks being put in front of the eyes of law, Singaporean style, and they folded. I had won, so-called, right? But so what? The trouble to go to court, to file legal documents, my parents being worried for me, and ultimately, I could not continue on with my job. And the most sad part is, I know that my mom tried to hide it, but I too know that she felt a deep sense of disappointment. Well, she had high hopes for me. Yeah. Well, as a Singaporean growing up in the 90s and 2000s, meritocracy, hard work is a value that all of us hold dear to our hearts. It's almost like a DNA that's ingrained in us. However, as our country grew, foreign talent from diverse cultures take roles in our local workforce, from technicians such as electricians to PMETs in finance, tech, so on and so forth. Let me make this clear, I am not against Singaporeans. Sorry, I'm not against foreigners. If they can value add, then by all means come value add to Singapore and Singaporeans. However, there must be checks and balance, sensible approaches to immigrations. There must be legal safeguards, a balance in perhaps HR departments. Well, let's be honest to ourselves. You and I, if we were dead honest to ourselves, out of practical sensibility, we have to account for potential cultural or social biases in the workforce. We must ensure that all Singaporean local workers who contribute directly or indirectly to Singapore's security and defense have equal job opportunities and a level playing field. Just a couple of days ago, actually this was before nomination day, Auntie Emily, she recounted her story very privately, that her part-time job is being replaced by a foreigner in an F&B role. Can you imagine that? That's how bad it has gotten. She's 59, she looks young, but our more senior aunties can't even fit themselves through an F&B part-time role. That's how bad we've gone. That's how off the road track we've gone. If our seniors can't even fend for themselves in the part-time job market, then what more of our local younger Singaporeans that form the bulk of our workforce? It is only when Singaporeans, young, middle-aged and old, are provided the security of a home, assured fair treatment at the workplace, fair job opportunities without unfair competition, then we can surely say that, yes, we have a stake in our country, we are willing to put our roots here, and this is our home. If elected into Parliament, I will bring the same tenacity you heard here tonight into Parliament. I will not be asking for handouts, but I'll be asking for dignity. Red Dot United will push for our proposals to ensure you have the security of a home, assured fair treatment at workplaces, fair job opportunities without unfair competition, proper healthcare coverage for our seniors. We'll push for a Sirs for All scheme so that you do not have to worry about upgrading your way out of lease decay. We will help the young couples with our rent-to-own scheme so that young couples like myself and my partner can have a chance to work our way to owning a home and calling Singapore our home. Today we stand before you as Singaporeans, cut from different cloths, made from different molds. We have all walked different lives, but today our paths converge beautifully with as a unique, diverse, resilient team that represents the very fabric of Singaporean society. One of multiracial harmony, mutual understanding, walking side by side. My colleagues of different races, regardless of language or religion, we come together and we call upon you. Dear voters of Jurong East Bukit Batok GRC, I call upon you to send this young man into Parliament. Give this young man his shot. I won't let you down. I will make you proud. Vote for Marcus Liu Kai Jie. 给梁凯杰一票. Vote for RDU, Red Dot United. Vote for a better, fairer Singapore. Majulah Singapura. Thank you.